Stablecoins are taking over in a big way. I mean, even if you look at RWA.XYZ, you could see that we are now over $235 billion in market cap value for stablecoins, and the monthly transfer volume continues to rise every single month. Just in the last 30 days, we're up over 20.72%, sitting at $2.57 trillion in monthly transfer volume, and the monthly active addresses is well over 29 million, up also 21+% in the last 30 days. So stablecoins right now are becoming a massive piece of the global financial system. And I think everyone is at this point aware of this, because what we have been hearing about from this admin as well as congressional members is that stablecoins are here to stay and they are going to reinforce the US dollar. This is a very bullish statement because it shows us, and it actually tells us, that crypto itself is going to become a big piece of the US financial system. Now, it's not just going to be any crypto projects. For an example, you're not going to see Shiba Inu adopt it in the US, but we will see specific companies from the space that are becoming very big parts of the financial system once we know it, like Ripple, become a piece of the US financial system, because Ripple and companies like Circle, as well as, Hedera, all of these companies have been around for a bit of time, and they have been working with regulators. They have been very transparent and compliant. And now, even today, as we really look at Ripple and what's been happening around even XRP, we mainly look at RLUSD, which is the main USD stablecoin, right? But what about the additional stablecoins that are now launching on the XRP ledger? And this is all accelerated by Ripple X Dev. Let's talk about it. Number one, we have XSGD. This is actually from Straits X, which they actually have a Euro stablecoin on the XRP ledger as well. But this is now live on the XRP ledger as of May 19th. It brings its regulated SGD-backed stablecoin to the blockchain built for real-time payments and tokenization. And we have from payments to tokenized assets to learn how XSGD unlocks the movement of value across Asia. Now, listen, I've been talking about this for quite some time. I've been addressing the fact that, at the end of the day, we are going to see so many different stablecoins on the XRP ledger. It's not just going to be RLUSD, right? We are going to see the entire FX market living on the XRP ledger. Also, Braza Group's new USD-backed stablecoin, which this is a very interesting one because we know that they're also launching the Brazilian Real stablecoin, but this is a USD stablecoin. Now we have two USD-backed stablecoins on the XRP ledger, RLUSD and Braza Group's. USDB is launching on the XRP ledger, giving individuals and institutions a seamless and secure way to move value across borders. With both USDB and BBRL on the XRP ledger, Braza is creating a scalable bridge between traditional finance and crypto in Latin America. Now, again, this is 3 stablecoins already, technically actually 4, because this is both USDB and BBRL. So 4 stablecoins. Not to even mention the 5th, because Straits X also does have a Euro stablecoin. So now we have 5 stablecoins just off of these 3 pages here. Then we mix in another Euro stablecoin. Now we're at 6 stablecoins. This is Shuman.io's financials. Euro P becomes the first MiCA compliant Euro stablecoin on the XRP ledger. A key step towards compliant stablecoin adoption, enabling payments, tokenized RWAs, and even on-chain finance in Europe. This is another huge stablecoin launch. Now we're at 6. Okay. And then also over here, we do have from Shuman Financial, our CEO, on EuroP integration to XRP Ledger. Here we have EuroP on the XRP Ledger combines the resilience of a global blockchain with Euro native liquidity and compliance at its core. This will give Europe and Euro-denominated financial markets an integral infrastructure for the next wave of financial innovation, which is happening on chain. And then another Euro stablecoin from Societe Generale. This is their Forge one, right? Has announced the launch of its USV stablecoin on the XRP Ledger in 2025. This got announced back in November. I'm still waiting for any update from this. We also know that this is launching on Stellar as well. But all of these stablecoin launches are enabling so much more utility on the XRP ledger. Not to mention, right, it's all around cross-border payments. This is going to impact the XRP ledger and XRP in a big way. But how does this lead us to the US adopting and utilizing the XRP ledger and XRP? Because again, the way that this works is that if we are going to see the US support USD-backed stablecoins, which they are, we're going to talk about that here in a second, that means that the underlying networks that these stablecoins are launched on, aka RLUSD, right? Let's just take this for an example. Both Ethereum and XRP ledger are going to be tapped in a big way if RLUSD, for an example, is going to be accepted and adopted within the US, which means XRP and Ethereum itself, the underlying gas tokens of these networks, are going to see increased adoption, increased volume, which is increasing the value. Now, let's actually talk about that, because we have been hearing a lot about not only clarity, but also stablecoin legislation from a lot of prominent players. Here we actually have from the 29th, the House has introduced the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act. Rep. Brian Steele says it's time to bring clarity to the golden age of digital assets. Now, on top of this, Brian Steele put out a video on the 27th, and we have stablecoin and market structure legislation will unlock the golden age of digital assets. Check it out.
We're going to be advancing quickly here on stablecoin. I think the House version, my bill, the Stable Act, complements well with the Genius Act in the Senate. I think at the end of the day, we'll be able to get one unified piece of legislation as we work to also deliver on the market structure legislation that's so essential. When both get done, I think we will really unlock the digital asset golden age here in the United States.
Now, on top of that, right, the Genius Act, we know that that's pushing forward, right? We're getting closer and closer to that officially being enacted. And, you know, when we think about all of this, we also go to JD Vance, because JD Vance just recently started to talk about what this administration is going to do, especially with stablecoins. Now, this is a big one. In this administration, we do not think that stablecoins threaten the integrity of the United States dollar. Quite the opposite. In fact, we view them as a force multiplier of our economic might. This is a huge statement because it's not only reinforcing the idea that the US is ready to adopt stablecoins into the financial system itself, but it's also showing us that we are going to see hundreds of millions of individuals utilizing stablecoins. That should get you very excited, because guess what that means? That means that we are going to rapidly see mass adoption of the underlying networks that these stablecoins are launched on. People will know stablecoins. They won't know what networks they're launched on, which means the XRP ledger and XRP could easily see mass adoption just from, for example, RLUSD being integrated within the US system, which it seems as though that's going to be the case, especially with the stablecoins that are USD denominated. Check this out, though.
In this administration, we do not think that stablecoins threaten the integrity of the United States dollar. Quite the opposite. In fact, we view them as a force multiplier of our economic might. Dollar-pegged stablecoins, particularly once Genius is enacted, is only going to help the American economy, and it's only going to help the American dollar. And this
Now, on top of this, right? This is a huge statement, but on top of this, we also got this. Check this one out.
Crypto is a hedge against bad policymaking from Washington, no matter what party is in control. It's a hedge against skyrocketing inflation, which has eroded the savings rate of Americans over the last 4 years. And as you all know well, it's a hedge against a private sector that's increasingly willing to discriminate against consumers on the basis of their basic beliefs, including their politics. That includes, of course, debanking users for Second Amendment advocacy or for ties to the first Trump administration. In Canada, the government did the same to kill those big truck driver protests in 2022. Less than a week later, they succeeded. The protests were over. But maybe most importantly, I see crypto as a hedge against one of the most dangerous trends in the digital era in both the public and private sectors. And that's of elites who, rather than innovate themselves, prefer to simply take over and co-opt cutting-edge technologies to assert their control over other people. And I know we believe this in this room. That's not Bitcoin. It'll never be Bitcoin, and you guys are going to make sure that happens.
So at the end of the day, when we think about what's going on here, we are about to see crypto unleashed in the US in a huge way, which, yes, that means that we are going to see utility become the focus point. It's no longer about nonsense, right? We are watching as the pillars to the utility bull run are being built right now. I understand that XRP is not where we want it to be, but it's also at a point where I think that a lot of long-term holders are pretty happy on where XRP is currently, but we are still tied back to Bitcoin. We still need to get away from Bitcoin, and the best way to do that is by having mass adoption achieved through stablecoins, which will impact the underlying networks. Stablecoins will unleash utility globally, which will also unlock additional utility that comes from institutional DeFi initiatives, tokenization initiatives. Stablecoins are just the starting point. I want you guys to understand that, because I know that we've been talking about stablecoins for quite some time now, but they are just one piece of the puzzle. Now, on top of that, we also got another clip from JD Vance talking about regulators. We are going to see any regulator that is anti-crypto completely fired. They will no longer have a hand to play here, which is very crucial, because this shows us that it's not just about supporting stablecoins. It's not just about unlocking the golden age of digital assets. It's also about making sure that we get the regulatory side of things right. We are starting to see an accelerated push on regulating crypto so that we can adopt and integrate it within the US system, because the US understands how crucial it is to be first here. We might have fallen behind under, Gary Gensler and, the previous admin, but going forward, it seems as though we are going to start to lead the pack instead of falling behind it. And this is very important. Check it out.
Eliminating the rules, the red tape, and the lawfare that we saw aimed at crypto by our predecessors. We're ending the weaponization of federal regulations against this community. To put it simply, Operation Choke Point 2.0 is dead, and it's not coming back under the Trump administration. And by the way, it's crazy that was ever even controversial, the idea of using the regulatory power of the government to crush an industry and to crush people who espoused a view that you didn't like. It's crazy, but let my words today serve as Operation Choke Point. Let me serve as its obituary. Now this is my vow to every single person here. You will never see this administration trying to handicap your community or diminish the impact it's had on the economy. Instead, we reject the Biden administration's legacy of death by 1,000 enforcement actions. We reject regulators. Maybe the most important thing that we did for this community, we reject regulators, and we fired Gary Gensler, and we're going to fire everybody like him.
So yeah, at the end of the day, this is where we start to see the big moves being made. We're going to start to see this market open up completely in the US. And I do think that the next step here is integrating stablecoins within the system. I think it all starts with big banks, right? I think that's exactly why we started to see SAB 121 repealed. We also saw the FDIC the OCC, even the Fed say that banks now have the green light. That is all big steps in order to integrate stablecoins like ROUSD within the system. And this will support XRP. This will support even Ethereum. But the fact is that utility is going to become the supreme dominant factor behind the value of these networks. It's no longer going to be about the 4-year cycle. It's no longer going to be about Bitcoin. The second that we start to actually get away from the Bitcoin-driven cycles is the second that we start to see the real value of these underlying networks like XRP become a reality. But on top of that, to end off this video, we saw a big update, and that's the Genius Act being focused on from Deutsche Bank. We have its genius. Deutsche Bank outlines stablecoins' role in ensuring US dollar supremacy. Guys, when you have players like Deutsche Bank talking about this, addressing stablecoins, and you look at the stablecoin market itself, let's go back to that stablecoin market, 2.57 trillion monthly transfer volume. I mean, even if you look at the transfer volume itself, and we go back to the monthly view here, just look at this 2.57 trillion. Right now it's showing 2.5 itself, but we do know it's at 2.57 trillion. When we look at this, this is actually not even an all-time high. Back in December, we saw $4 trillion in monthly transfer volume. Guys, this is something that's historical. Stablecoins are providing the ammunition to any, any congressional member, any, major player out there that wants to, support crypto. This is giving them the ammunition to say, look, at crypto has utility. Crypto is becoming a much bigger piece of the financial system. 2.57 trillion back in December, almost $4 trillion transferred through stablecoins. This is unlocking massive utility. It's changing the way that money is moved. It's opening up new markets. It's bringing the FX, the foreign exchange market, on chain. And the fact that the XRP ledger is starting to see stablecoins launching like this, guys, a lot of these announcements, these were just in the month of May alone. We are going to see so many more announcements like this. And I want you guys to understand that the revolution is here. It's happening now. We talk about it. I get it. Price action is the only thing that people care about at this point. But I want you guys to understand that the fundamentals right now behind this entire space, it's insane to see. It's extremely bullish. And I haven't seen anything like it before. I've been around this space for a while. The announcements that we are now seeing today is extremely bullish. And it's extremely exciting to see all of this happening because it really shows us what's going to happen next. We are starting to see the utility side of this space become a prime focus. And that's where we really start to look at projects like XRP, HBAR, QNT, XLM, Algo. I'm very excited about the future. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because I'm free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.